One of the most political poems of the 20th century was written by a man who was ambivalent about politics. This poet was W.B. Yeats. His poem was in response to a momentous event in Irish history, and it's remarkable for many reasons, not least that it showed that Yeats was not afraid to admit he was wrong about the revolutionaries. In this presentation, Eamonn will relate the inner turmoil Yeats experienced while he wrestled with his doubts. He was not convinced that the sacrifice was worthwhile. Donal would speak the resulting words that Yeats crafted. Easter 1916 is the poem.
When I wrote that poem of mine, Easter 1916, I had been involved in Irish public life for more than 25 years, promoting the Irish Literary Revival, founding Ireland's National Theatre, and supporting many nationalist causes. But alas, I had long since become disenchanted with Irish politics, with all of the fumbling in the greasy till. My romantic dreams of Ireland were truly dead and gone, and with O'Leary in the grave. But perhaps I had been wrong. Perhaps the days of the dreamer were not past. I have known many of the leaders of that Easter Rising personally. Yes, I was polite to them, but did I take them or their aspirations seriously? No. I was as shocked as most of the citizens of Dublin were when the Rising took place. But that Rising, that grand gesture, it had changed everything in a manner that was once terrible and beautiful.
I have met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces from counter or desk among grey 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head or polite meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words, and thought, before I had gone, of a mocking tale or a jibe to please a companion around the fire of the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is known. All changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born.
I recall Constance Markich, constant orbit from my beloved's life. I recall her now in that old Georgian mansion in Lissadell, with her sister Edith, two girls in silk kimonos, both beautiful, one a gazelle. I watched her as she became a champion of the poor of Dublin and a hardened political activist.
That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than hers when, young and beautiful, she rode to harriers?
I recall the schoolmaster poet Pearce and his friend and fellow poet Thomas MacDonald.
This man had kept a school and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper and friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought.
And I recall too, less fondly and with lingering resentment, that adventure of Major John McBride, the estranged husband of my beloved Maud Gonne.
This other man I had dreamed a drunken, vainglorious lout. He had done most bitter wrong to some who are near to my heart. Yet I number him in the song. He too has resigned his part in the casual comedy. He too has been changed in his turn, transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. And yet, I struggle to make sense of it all. Do I celebrate their courage and sacrifice? Do I lament the suffering that they unleashed? Was it necessary after all? Would mundane fumbling, prosaic politics have sufficed in the long run? Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when may it suffice? That is heaven's part. Our part to murmur name upon name as a mother names her child, when sleep at last has come on limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, no, not night, but death. Was it needless death after all? For England may keep faith, for all that is done and said. We know their dream, enough to know they dreamed and are dead. And what if excess of love bewildered them till they died? I write it out in a verse, Macdonough and Macbride, and Connolly and Pearse, now and in time to be, wherever green is worn, are changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born.